what has the government done to this point that maybe has unintentionally helped big business over small business, and how can that be remedied?
Good morning, Becky. Look, the strong have been getting stronger and bigger, the weak, weaker, and almost disappearing. And if you ask why, it has two elements to it. One is what's happening in the economy, who's allowed to reopen, who's not allowed to reopen. But also, as you just discussed with Steve, let me just give you one number. If you're an investment grade issuer, you've been able to issue $1.4 trillion, a record for a year. The last time we saw that amount was in the whole of 2017. We've seen it in 2020 in just 8 months at record low yields. If you're a small business, the Fed numbers show you that banks have tightened lending conditions on you. So here, easy access, people are throwing money at you. Here, very difficult to get access. So you've had a combination of things, and I'm really worried because this dispersion may be good for the stock market, may be good for national champions, but will have huge economic and social implications down the road.
Well, what needs to be done?
So a few things. One is you need to focus assistance better. The view so far has been go through the marketplace, go through financial markets, and it's going to trickle down. That doesn't work. In fact, if anything, you've heard me criticize that we've done too much for markets. The Fed shouldn't be buying high-yield bonds. That risks creating zombie companies that ironically take market share away from dynamic small companies. So you've got to do a little bit less here. And here, you've got to do much more focused assistance. You heard Steve say, and he's going to talk about it tomorrow, the Main Street lending program isn't going well. We need to fix that, and we can fix that.
We can fix it how?
By understanding better what it is we're trying to achieve, and by having the Treasury underwrite the risk so that the Fed doesn't feel it's being dragged away from just lending. This stuff is fixable. The engineering is there. It's just a question of political will.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, how important is this just in terms of the jobs picture? Small businesses make up a huge portion of jobs in America.
Yeah, it depends on how you count it, Becky. It's 50 or 60%. And I think, Mohamed, by the way, I was shaking my head and putting thumbs up for almost everything Mohamed said. The interesting economic implications you have to do with dynamism in the economy. Almost all gauges of dynamism in the economy have been on the decline, which is small business formation, entrepreneurship. They've actually been declining for several years now. Not a Trump administration thing. It began, I think, in the Bush administration, if I'm not mistaken, when that dynamism began to decline. And so what does that mean? It means that the sort of factory of new ideas and new companies and new dynamism, that's going to be on the decline. If these businesses go under, if capital is not available, I think we have a report coming up either today or maybe it was yesterday that this same dynamic is at work in the venture capital business, where the money for these new technologies are going to the bigger established companies, and it's harder for the smaller startups right now, Becky, to get that money. So there's a short-term implication. I think Mohamed talked about that and spoke well about that, about social implications, but there's a longer-term implication for the economy when it comes to new development, technologies, and productivity.
Hey, Mohamed, how much of this concern is what's weighing on the outlook from the Federal Reserve? They have to see this coming.
I think they do see it coming, and they're pointing the finger at Congress and say, Congress, you need to do something. But I do think it's an all-in-government approach that's needed, Becky. Remember what small businesses do. They're not just large employers. They also are the main way to have inclusive capitalism, an inclusive market-based system. And if you want capitalism to be sustained, you need buy-in from a lot of people. You cannot get buy-in if it's all about large corporations. And that's why this is a really important issue, and I'm really glad you are paying attention to it, because it speaks to what makes this country special. Otherwise, we're going to just see more and more concentration. We're going to see the supply side become less responsive, and then we're going to have bigger issues economically, socially, and politically.